Hello and welcome to Newsblitz. I am Georgina Andupe. Before we continue, remember the coronavirus is a deadly disease, so wash your hands with soap for at least 20 seconds regularly or use a hand sanitizer. Also wear your face mask when outside and maintain physical distancing. Well, the Senate on Tuesday summoned the Minister of Defense and Service Chiefs as well as heads of the Nigerian Police Force and the Department of State Service over the unending insecurity situation in the country. The resolution followed a motion moved by Senator Bello Mandia from Katsina State on the abduction of about 330 students of a secondary school in the state recently by unknown bandits. The Red Chamber also urged the President, Muhammadu Buhari, to implement the report of the Senate Committee on Security Challenges without further delay. Members of the upper chamber in their various contributions to the motion specifically passed a vote of no confidence on the various heads of security agencies in the country over their inability to prevent the abduction of the innocent children. Katsina State Governor Aminu Masari has disclosed that 17 of the missing schoolboys kidnapped from the government secondary school, Science Secondary School in KANKARA local government area of the state have escaped from captivity. Governor Masari, who disclosed this in an interview, said the schoolboys were found and have been reunited with their families. He added that efforts have been intensified to rescue the remaining schoolboys still in captivity safely. The governor therefore solicited prayers and urged the parents to remain calm and patient. Earlier, the governor, Bello Masari of Katsina State, told President Muhammadu Buhari that the abductors of the students in KANKARA local government area of the state have contacted the state government and discussions are on the way towards safe return of the boys to their homes. He explained that security agencies had located the position of the children and expressed optimism that based on efforts made so far, the outlook is positive. Governor Masari, who was accompanied to the visit by his deputy, Maniru Yakubu, noted that President Buhari was committed to the rescue of the school children.
Actually, we are having positive responses. There was a contact from the kidnappers to the parents of one of the pupils, and we have also made some contact with some of them. And we have a fair idea of the locations where the children are. And I think the military and the other security agencies are right now in the forest to make sure that they are rescued and harmed. So I think there's positive development so far.
Now, to further motivate officers and men of the Nigerian police, the Inspector General of Police has pledged more investment in education of children of both serving and retired police officers. To this end, the police chief has commissioned the Nigeria Police Basic Secondary School for children of both servicing and retired officers. Correspondent Sam Gwifu compiled the report.
Months after the NSAS protests, killings and destruction of police formations, the nation's police boss has continued to visit state commands to boost the morale of serving officers. Here in the federal capital city, the IGP says, aside the issue of improved welfare for the officers, the provision of quality education to children of men and officers of the force will from now on receive the desired priority.
I encourage the police personnel to take full advantage of this opportunity towards enhancing the educational fortune of their children as they concentrate on their national service across the country. I assure you all that I shall sustain our initiatives towards expanding our educational facilities both at primary and secondary school level.
The above medium facilities were constructed internally by our project intervention unit, headed by DSP Ibrahim, police engineer from both departments at a very low cost.
The school was built and run by the Force Education Unit in collaboration with Police Officers' Wives Association.
With Nigeria struggling to diversify its mono-product economy, stakeholders are exploring art as a means of social transformation with particular focus on the youth. Now, with the worsening economic and security situation across the country, they believe channeling the energies and creativity of the youth to developmental ventures will help diffuse a looming crisis.
The first assessment of the Nigerian socio-economic and political environment is that the youth, which accounts for a huge percentage of the population, has been left behind. Stakeholders organizing a 6-week boot camp hope to stir the creative instincts of these young ones.
But specifically, the Creative Youth Boot Camp is a 6 weeks intensive creative boot camp for youth who are gifted in music, visual arts, dance, you name it, spoken word, poetry, fashion, and they come together in a safe space where they work together with facilitators and faculty who are making a living doing what they love.
It's a good thing to take this initiative to a broader stage. What Nigerians have a lot of talent, amazing talents. All they need is just a little push for them to be moved to the positive areas. And this is what these young ones have achieved today.
Parents who have queued into this project are amazed at the transformation of their children.
I'm highly excited. The things they are doing here, if the society, even the people that claims to be our leaders can do this, they will develop a lot of charismas.
Wow. I see the streams of talents in them. And I felt like this is the opportunity we didn't have in our primary school days. And so what an opportunity for them to blossom.
For the youth, this is an opportunity to channel their energies into creative purposes.
I came here, with little or less knowledge of some things, but after 6 weeks, I'm proud to stand and say that I have been reborn, I have been transformed.
I actually enjoyed it because it gave me a lot. I actually found my handbag. I used to draw before, but I stopped because of parental situations, because of my father and a lot.
Street project has helped to, I will use the same word I use, rewire my brain. And it helps to reset me back to track. This is a place where there is no dazzle, no razzle, no razzmatazz.
Projects such as this give hope that some Nigerians are not focused on destroying the fabric of society, but are keen to make the country a better place to live in.
Well, as Nigeria begins preparations for the 2023 general elections, the civil society organization has advocated for the inclusion of electronic voting in Nigeria's electoral process. The program evaluation specialist with Aspilos Foundation, F. Young Emma, made this recommendation at an event put together for young entrepreneurs in Abuja. She also used the opportunity to call for more Nigerian youths to actively participate in politics in order to remain relevant in the political space. Correspondent Biyami Momo compiled the report.
Nigeria, Africa's largest democracy, has for many years been held down by issues of election fraud, thuggery, violence, as seen in past manual elections in the country. It is believed that if properly implemented and financed, the use of technology in the conduct of elections will eliminate voter fraud in the electoral system. This is one of the focus of the Aspilos Foundation. The youth-led foundation is pushing for the use of technology and digital inclusion to drive economic growth and good governance.
It means that we are actively involved in public hearings, anything that has to do with educating the grassroots about their voting rights, about exercising their civic duties.
The foundation is advising young Nigerians to be technology-friendly and actively participate in politics to ensure proper inclusion in the affairs of the nation and better equip themselves for future governance.
To build a society where people are economically, especially women, are economically equipped to provide for themselves and for their families, and also raise an army of youths that are politically active in Nigeria.
At the Meet and Mix event, the young people were encouraged to be the change they want to see.
We wanted an avenue for these people from different projects, different thematic areas to come together to meet, to build relationships, and basically for the growth of their careers and for their personal lives.
Today we spoke about email voting and electronic voting. How is it possible? How is it visible in our society?
Really amazing. We get to interact with a lot of people and get to know people, talk about salient issues of government. So it's really fun.
With the fast-growing digital era, integrating technology in Nigeria's electoral process is the way to go to ensure lasting solution to electoral malpractice. It is hoped that if the election process is digitized, and young people fully participate in politics, this menace can be eliminated. The Espillos Foundation plans to hold activities like this regularly as the 2023 election approaches to get more young people interested in politics.
The Senate on Tuesday swore in 4 new senators from Bayelsa's Lagos and Plateau who won the senatorial by-elections held on the 5th of December. The new senators sworn in at a brief ceremony during plenary of former Bayelsa State Governor Sareke Dixon, Bayelsa West, Cleopas Moses, Bayelsa Central, both of the People's Democratic Party, as well as Professor Dora Datut, Plateau South, and Ade Tokumbo Abiru, Lagos East, both from the All Progressives Congress. The Bayelsa senatorial by-election was for the replacement of Duye Diri and Lawrence Erojakpo, respectively, following their election as governor and deputy governor of the state. Senators Dora Dadut and Ade Tokumbo Abiru replaced these senators Ignatius Longjan, who passed on the 9th of February, and Adebayo Shinowo, who passed on in June. Following the swearing-in, Senate President Ahmed Lawan assured that the Senate is always committed to national interests.
Fairly well as an assembly. And the secret is unity of purpose. We believe that we have to serve our country, and our country cannot need us more than it needs us today. We are faced with challenges, but these are surmountable challenges. The secret is remain united, remain focused, partner and support each other. And that is what we do here. So our colleagues who have just joined us, incidentally, at the moment, it's a draw. APC has 2, and PDP has 2. But that is not the major thing. The major thing is we are one.
Well, the National Inland Waterways Authority, NIWA, has declared its readiness to partner with the NPA on goods evacuation from the ports as a way of solving the problem of trucks gridlock on roads leading to the ports. Managing Director of NIWA, Dr. George Mogalu, said this while presenting the agency's 2021 budget estimates before the Senate Committee on Marine Transport. He also informed the committee that 3.9 billion naira budget estimates proposed for the agency in 2021 will be primarily geared towards upscaling the development of inland water transportation in Nigeria. On his part, the Executive Secretary, Nigerian Shippers Council, Hassan Bello, said with the implementation of the electronic call-up system, the gridlock at the Apapa ports in Lagos will soon be a thing of the past.
The government of His Excellency the President Muhammadu Buhari, the authority reiterates its determination now more than ever to upscale the development of inland water transportation in Nigeria. I therefore seize this opportunity to appeal to the chairman of this distinguished committee to use their good office to ensure and facilitate a conducive financial and legal environment that will provide the boost needed for the national inland waterways to achieve its full potentials.
We expect by first quarter of March, the whole gridlock of Apapa will disappear, especially if there is the deployment of the electronic call-up system, as has been told by the Managing Director of Nigerian Shippers Council. So shipping is the sector we have to look at, to generate massive revenue for next year.
Well, the Patriotic Youth Organization of Nigeria has taken President Muhammadu Buhari to court, challenging his appointment of an interim administrator for the Niger Delta Development Commission. A suit filed at the Federal High Court in Abuja on the 14th of December wants the court to rule that the president erred in his actions. This, the group argues, is based on Section 2, 3 and 4 of the Act setting up the Commission. It is therefore asking the court to declare that the appointment by the President is illegal, null and void, based on Sections 2, 3, 4 and 12 of the NDDC Act. It is also asking the court to declare that any action taken by Effiong Okon Akwa as sole administrator of the Commission is in clear violation of the NDDC Act. Joined in the suit with the President are the Attorney General of the Federation and the Senate of the Republic of Nigeria, the Minister of Niger Delta Affairs, and the sole administrator of the NDDC. You're watching Newsblitz. We'll bring you stories, more reports on the news. Stay with us. Welcome back. Now, the Center for Social Justice has criticized the plan by state governments to borrow from Nigeria's pension fund. Speaking at a media briefing in Abuja, the executive director of the center, Ezonye, says granting state governors access to the pension fund is the worst thing that can happen to Nigeria as a nation. Our correspondent, Margaret Ogbo, compiled the report.
Over the years, inadequate and slow release of funds by employers has clogged the wheels of Nigeria's pension system. Ever since Nigerian governors announced their plan to borrow from the country's 17 trillion naira pension funds, many have fiercely resisted the plan. But the governors are adamant. They say there is nothing wrong with borrowing part of the pension fund to provide infrastructure across their states. But the executive director of the Center for Social Justice is outrightly criticizing the act, insisting it is bad for Nigeria.
The pension funds pool is not a pool that should be made available to our profligate governors, because they behave like emperors. They are not accountable. They have the houses of assembly in their pocket. And then you want somebody who thinks himself as an emperor to go and have access to it. And when he finishes spending it, and I demand for my money upon retirement, where will it come from?
Speaking against incomplete projects in the work sector, he says prioritization and rationalization must be considered in constructing and sustaining new roads in the country.
You rationalize the number of projects going into the budget based on available resources. So there's no point having 200 roads when you know that all the money that you have can only pay for 10 or 15 roads.
Nigeria's pension system may be far from perfect, but adding this new twist to it may lead to an unprecedented backlash from workers who have and continue to contribute to the system.
While stakeholders in the humanitarian sector are calling on the federal government to include the teaching of SMEs on the Nigerian academic curriculum, the Director of Program, Saiga Africa, Cynthia Bamalu, and other stakeholders made the call at an event in Abuja. They say the inclusion of strategy for economic diversification in the country. Our correspondent, Margaret Ogbo, also compiled the report.
According to the National Bureau of Statistics, small and medium-scale enterprises, SMEs in Nigeria, have contributed about 48% of the national GDP in the last 5 years. And they have the numbers, a total of 17.4 million registered businesses. A cursory look reveals that SMEs account for about 50% of industrial jobs and nearly 90% of the manufacturing sector. This is why stakeholders are calling on the Nigerian government to include SMEs of the Nigerian academic curriculum.
It's not just about certificates. What we have these days, educational systems churning out young people with certificates who do not have any particular skill, who are not even employable. And I believe that the teaching, our curriculum needs to be reviewed from a very early stage, as early as primary schools. Let's start teaching our students, our children, to perform and function in a world that we exist in, that would actually meet the needs of the community that they live in. Let's go beyond just formal education, beyond just a certificate, to also empower young people with skills.
This entrepreneur, Charity Ochie, says policies must be made and effectively implemented if SMEs sector must grow.
If we are having children being taught English and other things, why not teach them SMEs from the scratch? So that it becomes a choice. When you want to buy a product from China, you speak this, you look for a translator. That's because they don't care about school the way you and I care about it. They care about craft. They care about things that we provide for them. So why not bring the same thing here? If at the end of the day we have tons of people every year graduating without jobs, don't you think entrepreneurship is the next way?
It's very important because we're talking about self-sufficiency. When you see, like, we've had several cases of domestic violence, all manner of abuse, and when you look at the underlying cause, the main problem is that lack of financial empowerment. We believe that SMEs, businesses, should be taught to children, not just as a cause, but practically from a very young age. And I'm happy that a crop of parents are coming up with creative ways to teach their children.
SMEs contribute a lot to the nation's economy. In spite of the significant contributions, challenges like lack of funds still hinder the growth of the sector.
You're still watching Newsblitz. We bring you stories from the foreign scene after this break. Do stay with us. Welcome back. We begin from the United States, where the President-elect Joe Biden has said it is time to turn the page after his presidential election victory was confirmed by the U.S. Electoral College. In a speech after the announcement, he said U.S. democracy had been pushed, tested, and threatened, and proved to be resilient, true, and strong. He condemned the President Donald Trump's attempt to overturn the result. Later, Russian President Vladimir Putin became one of the last world leaders to congratulate Mr. Biden on his victory. Well, the deputy governor of the Afghan state of Kabul has been killed in a sticky bomb attack. Mabola Mahebi and his secretary both died on Tuesday when a device attached to their car exploded. No group has yet said it was behind the attack. It is the latest in a spate of killings in Afghanistan this month, including that of a government prosecutor who was shot dead while on his way to work. Australian authorities have issued evacuation warnings for low-lying towns in northern New South Wales as storms batter the nation's east coast on Tuesday. Emergency officials say they had fielded about 150 calls for help in the past 24 hours. Huge swells plummeted the coast of the New South Wales and southeast Queensland on Monday, causing major erosion. Authorities say the storm had moved south on Tuesday, bringing the threat of flooding to inland New South Wales. You're still watching Newsblitz. Next is sports after the break. Super Eagles coach Gennett Wah says Maduka Okoye is not yet the first choice of the Super Eagles, as he still has a lot of work to do. Okoye has been in superb form for his Dutch side Sparta Rotterdam, keeping 4 clean sheets so far. He kept goal from the Eagles in their 4 games in this year, keeping out the likes of Daniel Ekpeyi and Ike Chukwuezenwa. However, Ra says the young shot-stopper has not yet made the position his own. Mino Raiola says his client Paul Pogba is unlikely to leave Manchester United during the January transfer window. Raiola, however, insists the midfielder could join a new club next summer. He claimed last week that Pogba was unhappy at Manchester United and needs a new challenge. However, the France international later posted a message on Instagram suggesting he had no intention of going anywhere soon. Raiola has now hinted that the reaction to his initial comments was over the top, but he still believes a summer transfer for the 27-year-old is on the cards. And that's Newsblitz for today. Remember, coronavirus is a deadly disease. Please wash your hands with soap for at least 20 seconds regularly or use a hand sanitizer. Also wear a face mask when outside and maintain physical distancing. Thank you so much for watching. I am Georgina Ndukwe-Zainka.